Greetings, friends. It's International Peace Day, and time for the drive home. International Peace Day. It's interesting. Didn't even know until Facebook informed me. Go figure. That's how I keep track of most of my stuff. Either Facebook tells me it's somebody's birthday, or Google Calendars reminds me that I have an appointment. At least I have those things. Otherwise, I'd be completely and utterly lost. But yeah, International Peace Day. Didn't really hear anything about anybody celebrating. Nobody really having any notes. When I had heard about it, I was half contemplating, okay, well, for International Peace Day, I will peacefully drive home, nice and quietly, and use that as my little celebratory bit. And then I was informed that that was me using International Peace Day to be a lazy asshole, so I guess I'm not doing that then. Instead, let's talk about peace. And if we're ever going to see it in our lifetime. In my opinion, as is everything in the show, it's my opinion, it's possible, but highly unlikely. I just don't see the things that need to happen. For one, defense contractors have to have far less sway in our government. Because if there's peace, they're not making money. And if they're not making money, well, they're not happy. And if they're not happy, the government stooges who they bribe aren't happy either. Because then they're not getting bribed. So everybody wants to make money off the defense industry. So let's just go ahead and make that happen. So that's not going to happen. For another, on religions, you religious people, mainly the fanatics, you gotta get your shit together. You gotta stop blowing people up, bombing people or shooting people because of their differences. And I'm not just talking about Muslims. There's plenty of Christians. There's even, if I remember correctly, there's even Buddhists down in Southeast Asia that have been committing genocide against any Christians they can find. I mean, why? Stop it. Knock it off. I mean, seriously. There's the crazy dude in Colorado who was killing abortion people for Jesus. And you've got ISIS killing people for their version of Muhammad's prophecies. And, of course, you have the more sane Muslims saying, no, this is not how our religion works. And it's one of those weird things where no matter how loud they say it, everybody says they're not saying it loud enough. But, I mean, there's plenty of examples of this happening all over the place with different religions, so make it stop, please. I mean, that's got to happen. War's got to stop being profitable. People have to set their differences aside. We need to really focus on alternate energy, because you could very easily point to our involvement in the Middle East and our escalation of the conflicts around there being strongly focused nowadays on oil and our need for that rich black stuff. So yeah, that's got to change. I found it really interesting watching an article, or watching a bit that the Young Turks did a number of months ago, might have even been years, where it's talking about where the actual creation of things like ISIS and Boko Haram, well, maybe not so much Boko Haram, but ISIS and the imams of Iran and things of that nature came around basically because of our involvement. A lot of it was very strongly during the McCarthyian era, where we were so afraid of secular thinking, especially because of those godless communists, as it were, that we basically handed the people in Iran and Afghanistan, the religious fanatics in Iran and Afghanistan, a lot of support, a lot of money and a lot of weapons. And that's kind of how they came into power. And now that they're in power, they're just escalating their crazy to 11. And just after that, once they hit that point, they ripped out the knob because they didn't see any reason to ever turn it down again. So there's that. But yeah, we need to stop killing each other over religious differences. We need to stop killing each other over resources that could be easily substituted if we bothered to put any research into it, any thought into it. I mean, hell, you look at Germany. Germany's almost entirely powered by wind energy at this point. They're doing a hell of a job up there. Sweden has used refuse incineration for energy generation, and they've been so successful that they have to buy garbage from other countries to keep up the demand because they're doing such a good job. They're incinerating their garbage and making energy, and they're out of garbage. It's like, come on, guys, throw more burger wrappers away. We need to burn this stuff. So that needs to happen. Beyond that, I really don't know. I mean, conflict is very, very much a part of us. You know, we're a warlike species. We're a violent tribe, as it were. People didn't like the way you were doing things. You bashed them over the head. It's kind of how it's been in our history. You wanted something, you took it. Trade was a relatively new idea. And even then, a lot of traders are just out to screw the other people. And that's, yeah, again, we're falling under the whole that's not cool stuff. But I mean, that's how it works. People are greedy. Greed, yeah, that's another thing that's got to go away if we want peace. We've got to have a much stronger middle class, because when you have a very weak middle class and you have a lot of social separation like we have now, or a lot of we have a very classist society as it's getting to, our blood starts to boil. We get angry about stuff and we need to find an outlet, and you know, we're not going to have the pitchforks and torches revolution that we kind of yearn for, as it were. So we need different outlets, and getting distracted by wars is a good outlet for that. It's just like the Colosseums of Rome, you know. If your population is getting uppity, give them a blood sport to stare at. And nowadays it's our relatively sterile wars that we're constantly doing in the Middle East. And I say sterile only in the way that it's perceived on our side. I mean, thousands of our troops are killed, millions of their civilians are killed, but that's not what's televised. You know, we don't see the rows of flag-covered pine boxes, and we don't see the horror that's been shed upon them. We just hear numbers and stats, and you know, it's almost a video game, but not quite, because video games are fun and that shit's not fun. But you know, it all falls down to a digital statistic, a digital number on a screen, and that doesn't mean anything to us. We just hear, oh good, our guys are winning, or the bad guys are losing, and that's all a lot of people care about. But until we can filter that out, until we realize what's going on and actually feel something for it, we're going to be hard pressed to reach that point. But I hope you do, and I hope you have a very peaceful day for National Peace Day, and I'll see you at home.